the power of the brand and how to connect with consumers. We've probably all seen these logos before, from Google to Microsoft to Coca-Cola. These are fairly common brands that are around us in our everyday actions. We use Google to search, we might have Microsoft Surfaces or tablets or any other product they make, and we might go to the store every day to get our daily Coca-Cola. But why should we care about these logos, these brands, and the products that they give us? What does it matter? What impact does it have on our daily lives? How does this information help consumers like you and me be able to navigate stores, markets, and online shopping? At a broader scale, it's important to understand the vitalness that brands have on our everyday life. Whether it be bringing us happiness, satisfaction, or excitement, brands like Apple, Coca-Cola, Microsoft, Casper understand how to relate to consumers' emotions and sell products to them like you'd never believe. Taking a look back at those logos that we had on the second screen, you can see how they're adjusted for brand value. Apple being the biggest, of course, with over $200 billion in brand value, Microsoft, Google, Amazon all following close behind. And that point is further illustrated here through this chart, and we can see in 2019 Apple was evaluated at $205 billion for their brand value. And you can kind of see how branding has so much of an impact and why it's so important to have a strong brand. Taking a step back, we're going to explore the history of branding, spanning from the 15th century all the way up to what this word means today. In the 15th century, branding was referred to as a mark burned on cattle to show ownership. And at the time, this was really useful, especially for farmers who had lost their cattle. And the only way that they could tell that it was theirs was by the mark burned on them. A few centuries later, in the 19th century to be exact, it became possible to register a trademark to prevent companies from creating confusingly similar products, putting a further emphasis on companies to create products that reflected their brand more so than just ripping off competitors. Further down the line, closer to the end of the 20th century, branding became a way for company to signify and guarantee superior quality. And now we're talking about companies like Quaker, Coca-Cola that have really taken the market and shown how their logo and everything that that logo represented meant a lot to the customer and really signified a superior quality over any other product that they could find. In today's day and age, a brand is about more than just a product. It's about having a relatable story. It's about connecting with your consumers and showing them why they should buy your product and be invested in your company. Now that we understand the history behind branding, we can understand the core components of what makes up a brand today. Design, value, strategy, logo, marketing, advertising, identity, and trust are all core components of a brand. The way it looks, how you perceive it as a consumer, the strategy in targeting new consumers, the visual identity and the face of the company, the way they appeal to other consumers, the way they advertise that appeal are all core components of a brand. Sean sums this all together, succinctly stating, branding is the art and science of influencing perception about a product, service, or organization. After going through the history and definition of a brand and what it means today, we're going to take a step back into the past to the 1970s and explore the differences between Apple and IBM in the personal computer market. To give you some context, in the 1970s, an IBM computer looked something like this. Here's an Apple computer also in the 1970s, and to tell you the truth, the differences aren't that crazy. They look fairly similar, and they function on a pretty similar level. And here's a look at an IBM computer today. Oh, wait, didn't forget the graphic. They don't make a PC anymore. Whereas on the other hand, because of Apple's ability to market the household computer, they were able to continue all the way on today and making and innovating their laptop. And when you look back at what IBM was advertising, it's clear they were advertising to business people and people in offices and the people that had been advertised to time and time again. Whereas even though the photo quality and the typography is vastly different than Apple uses today, the core messaging and ideas are intact. They value minimalism, simplicity, and personalization for everybody. Apple targeted markets like home computers where everybody was included in it, and it led them to increase sales and increase how people felt about computers. The underlying idea here is that relatable brands succeed. When people reach out to those who want to listen, they get results, they get sales, they get people that care about the products that the company is producing. Even though this was in the 1970s, the ideas are still intact today. We're going to take a look into modern branding, specifically through the lens of social media and how that plays a role into the content we consume. We're going to take a look at the Casper line of quizzes that they released on the subway that we can no longer ride on. But anyways, the main premise was no more awkward eye contact on the train, and basically kind of a cute way to energize sleep and to bring some light into it and to bring some fun into it. And then finally, we're going to lastly look at Dollar Shave Club and their motto of shave time and shave money. And these three ads kind of encompassing a little bit different, but the top right showing a difference between the classic his and hers of companies that try to differentiate between male and female, but how Dollar Shave Club is gender inclusive and it doesn't matter, you're going to get the same product no matter what. And on the left, it has an ad for your new stash of money by saving so much money from shopping at Dollar Shave Club. And then on the bottom right, kind of like appealing to the consumers and being a friendly, helping person that's there for you through the buying process. Those are two pretty modern brands that are taking a new approach on what it means to relate to consumers and to bring funny, energetic advertisements to everybody through their own style and visual language. Now, I'm not saying you guys are branding experts, but you basically are, and with that knowledge, you can do whatever you want with it. You can kind of analyze how companies appeal to you and use that to your advantage, or literally anything else you can think of.